Hey, what's up, folks? How you doing? It's Clay, the author here. Oh, and my cat motor. Yeah, I didn't introduce him last time. I didn't realize how weird it might be to have like a weird little cat tail and like nothing else floating through the video, and I didn't actually realize it until I watched it. And yeah, anyway, that's my cat. I've got like 4 of them. It happens. And I'm so used to doing the Dr. James Bond sort of villain thing that I don't even notice they're around some days. So this is a follow-up video to the vlog drive from work stuff that I'm still doing, that I'm still trying to do to sort of keep folks posted on just my process and where my brain space is at and what I'm doing, because I was completely derailed, and that was simply because I tried to pants something, and that I no, that's not me. That's not how I work. But since I'm so new to this, I had to, of course, give it a try. And it got me into some, avenues and some holes and some no, I'm just going to fix it the way I like to fix things, the Dungeons and Dragons planet way. And so world build it, right? So this brings us to this 96 some odd page. I don't know how big it is really. I think it was roughly that. PDF, right? Right now it's a Google Doc, like everything that I do is. But yeah, let's just jump right into it, because I tried to talk it out a little bit beforehand, and it might be a little confusing for folks who aren't my brain. But I don't know. Maybe that's how these tools work. I'm not really sure. So yeah, let's see what happens. All right, here goes nothing. All right, so here we are with page 1 on my kitchen sink method basic fiction template. So here's where I'm trying to figure out the difference, right? And this is where I have growing pains being a digital person and trying to create this sort of like, PDF thing that I can just print out and scribble on, things like story title, right? What I'll probably end up doing is just taking this and reducing it down to, some ridiculously, light thing here. So you just scribble right over the story title there, right? And so those formatting errors aside, right, I would like to sort of view this just as a content only thing, right? Because those things are everywhere right now. I'm still working through that. So I'd like that to be an aside. Anyway, continuing on. Story title. An emotional story or tale about a theme. This is just sort of to get you in the mood for what's going on. And if the kids downstairs are ruining that, sorry, this is just kind of going to be part of me. We'll see how it works out. Let's put it that way. And because yeah, that's sort of what I'm trying to do here is get everything done all at once. And if they're not downstairs murdering each other, we'll keep recording. I really like the Pixar story outline because, okay, so right, what is the first page? The first page is just a brain dump to get you thinking about what your story is, where it exists in the realm of genre fiction, because that's what this is about. And it's really for fantasy fiction following the hero's journey, 12 points of doing that, right? But barring that, I would like to pull enough resources to be able to make it something that's actually agnostic, right, at some bigger level, because I know that's theoretically possible, and the nerd in me would love to code something like that up eventually one of these days, but that's a way further down the road conversation. So we've got an emotional tale about a theme, and then these 6 story arcs that are the emotional notes you're going to hit as they're kind of broken down into these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 basic story structures, right? And then the theme of that, right, these are not themes. These are buckets in which your theme will go, right? If you're doing an event theme, you know, speed, right? You know, whatever it's going to be, you know, right, is, you know, not everybody is what they seem is the theme of that event, right, thing, you know, right? And you can have that, you know, across any of these, don't get me wrong, but these are just buckets, right, for you to think about your theme and how you want to satisfy that, because themes, I'm not even going to try, right, because you can do so many themes, right? I suppose I could probably do that. Maybe that's what I'll do here is make this a little bit. Let me know if you've got some ideas with that. I'd be really interested to see. So Peter Russell's BMOC, the high-level outline of your character arc / story. This is the this high-level outline of the character arc / story, but that's just what I've got it written down as. Really, it is the rhythmic structure that you're going to lay on the superstructure, the main arc, the scene level structure, because this is really the beginning, the middle, the obstacle, and the climax, right? The BMOC, right? And he, you know, calls it introducing the wound and fighting the change, and then you learning the theme, and then succeeding or failing, you know, that is the climax, right? You know, I call it bleeding, mentoring, opening the wound, and closing the circle for BMOC, right? That's what this main page is here. It's just to give you that once upon a time there was a blank, and then every day this happened because of that, until finally, right? That's all this is supposed to be. Then we go into a whole set of 12 sheets that the author can fill out that satisfy those, maybe it's just 9. I think it's the 9 characters from the hero's journey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, right? So there's 8 characters. And so I just kind of ripped them out, but instead of giving it just this sort of like blank, boring, you know, I really did try to give them their own individual things, right? So you've got like your basics, right? You know, the gender, if you want to do that, the race and age and height, you know, weight, hair, skin, physique, features, style, right? I wanted to keep this real loose. Who are they? What is their gift? What is their flaw? And what is the theme of their character arc, right? What is the lesson that they've got to learn, right? And then what are the tools that they start out with to be able to do that, or the hindrances that are going to keep them from being able to accomplish, right? Right. And so each one of these is going to be the same for every character down the list. These in bold are different. So, you know, is it the, you know, who are their closest friends, existing enemies, right? What are their feelings on freedom, fame, honor, law, justice, right? These kinds of things. Goes through the basics. Then who are they? What is their gift? Why are we afraid of them? Because this is the antagonist, right? What is their flaw? Why are they sympathetic, right? Because that's how we want to frame this character, right? And then what is the theme of their character arc? Because they can either be a static character, their theme, their, you know, arc can be tragic, right? They could die, you know, et cetera, right? Again, then these questions don't change. Then there is the ally. What is their, who are they? What is their gift? What is their flaw? And then what is the theme of their character arc? And the reason these are the same is because these are the core characters, right? As you come into the more two-dimensional characters, right? Right. This shapeshifter is the last one. It is the, the mentor, right? What is their lesson, theme lesson for the protagonist? And then what is their lesson? Plot lesson for the protagonist, right? So, is in Mr. Miyagi's style, like, you've got to believe in yourself, and karate is for self-defense, and all of these, you know what I mean? All of the not violent messages that Johnny gets, right? And then the plot lesson is the crane kick or the whatever dance, like using the drum. Right. That's what it is. Right. And then I'm not sure about the what is their flaw, right? I'm actually kind of looking forward to, changing this into like maybe what is their blind spot or what is their, whatever, right? Instead of thinking of it in that way, I need a way to frame these questions so that they force the reader, who is the writer, to think a certain way. And that's really the hard part here, is trying to frame these questions in such a way that they kind of push you in a direction. And so, yeah, any ideas, any of that stuff, please. I'm really, I'd love to yeah, right. The Herald is the same breakdown, right? Except that what is their driving need, right? And then the thing that sparks the plot, because the Herald is the Paul Revere, right? They're the letter from Hogwarts, right? Because they don't have to be a person, right? The Herald can be whatever, right? And then, what is the driving need, right? Well, the driving need is to go to Hogwarts, but he doesn't even believe Hogwarts exists, right? Yeah, right. The driving need is to, excuse me, get ready for the British, right? So yeah, that's anyway. And like I said, all those questions were the same, but as this comes down and these characters get more two-dimensional, who are they to the protagonist? Who are their existing enemies, right? And so it's just sort of a slightly different way to think about it. Maybe I changed the other ones around. I can't remember. Anyway. Yeah, who are they to the protagonist? I think most of that is just all that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, who are their closest friends versus who are they to the protagonist starts with the mentor, right? So I'm still working all this out, right? This is very much a work in progress, but this feels pretty good. And so that's the characters. There's one last page that's an overview of the setting, right, of the world. Yeah, it gives you a spot for world name, city, village name, the location, right? If you want to kind of, just abstract these things out, into time, right? And then you get into the actual weirdness, right? If you're reading ahead, right, there's the scope of the story / setting, right? And it's anywhere from just your circle of friends, as in like the traveling pants, or, all life in the universe, right? Like, I don't know, never-ending story, but not, right? It's the backdrop conflict, right? Again, this is really, really important in the American story structure. This is like what we do. Whereas if you examine Asian story structure or other story structures, you will find that in Asian story structure, in anime, the driving plot, the plot isn't driven by an external conflict. It is just a slice of life exploration that we as the viewer jump into their life during the point in which they discover they have powers or whatever, right? And then we join them and their, oh my gosh, there's a word for it that starts with a K. Anyway, their crew, right? Their entourage of followers, right? Anyway, it's a great kind of thing. We do that too, right? The Expendables is a totally, anyway, you can look it up. You can research it on your own. I'm going up on a tangent. Sorry. So I've got this, right? Who are the local people? What's the technology level? Their government structure? Just these basic things that you can, what is the protagonist's relationship to the dominant culture? What is the antagonist's relationship to the dominant culture, right? To kind of really hone you in on the individual characters and their arcs, right? This is supposed to be a very character-centric template. But at the same time, it's a template. And so by virtue of being a template and being put out in the structure it's in, I am trying to focus as much as I can on the character elements. Yeah, I don't know if that anybody cares about that or if that's a takeaway at all, but that's what, yeah. And then, the local climate, terrain, and flora, fauna, if you wanted to go over just a real basic, weather breakdown of just like how the planet is. And then, right, and here we are, Act 1, right, hero's journey, the natural world, and then these every other page is going to have a scene number to it, right? So these are tuple pages that and this is why I would want to print it out, because I would want this to be left side, right side, right? And that way you just get it. And so each page, as you open it, you've got this side, and you open it and it's this side and this side, and that's how you work from each scene, right? Is a 2-page scene. And so you've got, this David Mamet's 3 questions for every scene, right? It's who wants what from whom, what happens if they don't get it, and why now, right? And it's blank wants blank from blank, blank will do blank, which will result in because blank. This alone, hopefully, for most folks, right, is going to be enough to like get you through, and there's 40 of these, right? And so that's a template. I didn't create that, I just stuck the filler in, right? This David Mamet, he did this. And so that alone, you do that 40 times, that's going to help you a lot if you can frame it correctly. And I guess that's what I'm really trying to do, is help people frame this correctly, because I need help framing it correctly. And so and that's how I do these things. I'm a nerd, so I need to like build a structure that I can use over and over and over again. And that's why it's taking me so long to produce something, is I'm not creating a workflow in which I feel like I am doing the best. And as a coder, when you do something like this, you build your own framework. And that's actually what I'm doing right now, is building my own framework. And I'm just exposing that to you guys, hopefully. Yeah, anyway. So this template, this is the same for every scene, right? This is, yeah. And then we get different questions that start the BMOCs for each of the 40 scenes, right? And within those, you're going to want to have some good news, some bad news, raising the stakes, and a ticking clock, right? At any point, they could be all of these. These are just to be ticked off to make sure, check marked off, right? To make sure that you're hitting those beats somewhere on this page. At every single page, you want to make sure that even if it's from the previous one, the clock is still ticking through in the background, right? And this is just a way to keep track of that, right? I hope. Yeah, it's supposed to be a way to keep track of it, right? And so, protagonist, protractical, is thrust into an intense event that showcases your fictional world, right? Then in the middle, okay, right, and then in that scene, right, this is where we get our motivational reaction units, right? And it's who feels what, who does what, and who says what, right then and there, in the middle of whatever this intense event is to kick off your fictional world that's happening, right? Whether it's some starfighter fight or whatever, right? Showcased aspects of the natural world being disrupted. Here's your opportunity to save the cat, right? As the first obstacle happens, right? As so-and-so gets crushed by something or other, and the protagonist has to jump to their aid, and oh, wow, who knew that they might have superpowers or something, right? Have them fail or succeed at saving the cat, or doing whatever. Maybe they actually succeed, but, fail at doing whatever social thing it is, right? A la, every 80s movie ever. And then the shorthand for breaking that down, right? And so basically all this is repeats of that structure, right? where this doesn't change and these questions do, right? Beginning. The final confrontation begins. Who does what? Who says what? Battle as usual. Who feels what? Who does what? Who says what? The obstacle is the antagonist cheats or does whatever dirty thing it is that they do. And this is where I would like to be able to make sure that the template is agnostic and can back away far enough so that it doesn't necessarily, is and uses a child as a human shield. No, it could be, dredges up something from their past and does whatever you need to do to make your antagonist horrifying in a rom-com or whatever, right? But even if that antagonist is yourself, that whatever it is, that's when the low blow and the gloves come off, right? And then whatever it is starts fighting dirty, whether it's your own inner fears or an actual, skull-faced Burning Man thing. That's what this is. That's all this template is, right? All the way down to the beginning, with the reward, seizing the sword, down to this very last little scene. Which one is it? Yeah, climax. Protagonist wins in the moment of greatest intensity. Right, so so if you were just reading the top one, reward, seizing the sword, right, that's the overall beat from Act 3, which really doesn't change. Then the hero's journey beat. Then within that, Scene 38 is revelation, right? Show the protagonist's epiphany related to the theme. Scene 39, climax, protagonist wins in the moment of greatest intensity. Scene 40, the resolution, who lives, dies, gets the girl/guy, and the party on Endor, y'all. Right? So this is it. This is the template. I don't necessarily need help. I can probably do this on my own. I could use it though. It would be really awesome. Yeah, because doing this on my own is hard. It's not as fun as it could be. So yeah, that's the template. If you want it, I will have a link to it. You can download it, share it with friends, whatever. For now, it's free. It's out there. It just is what it is. It's probably got typos in it. It's got no formatting stuff that's actually any good at all. Whatever, right? Have fun with it. Eventually, I would possibly like to package it up and maybe use it as a lead magnet, right? But that would take definitely polishing it up, getting it into some forms, possibly even theming it. I would totally be okay with doing the crime thriller version or the fantasy fiction version versus the romance version, and maybe that's just what you do. You don't make it agnostic, you make it super hyper themed, and you go deep, not wide, right? I don't know. Anyway, that's just me being me. Anyway, if you liked it, subscribe, do a thumbs up, all that good call to action stuff, because I'm out of here. I think my girlfriend is finally home, and I'm going to go say hi and hang out with the family. You guys have a great night. See you.